Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, and I think anybody that out there has actually been paying attention for quite a while now knows that the Walt Disney Company is filled of nothing but double standards out there. Obviously, they talk about inclusivity, diversity, inclusion, yada, 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 all that other kind of nonsense. And then, of course, we can go all the way back to the very first Star Wars, the very first Disney sequel Star Wars trilogy movie out there, where, of course, they decided to shrink the black character on the poster for China out there, while once again screaming that, oh, they loved all this kind of diversity, inclusion, equity nonsense, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, we've seen the backpedal over the last few years, well, at least over the last year or so, of Disney trying to back away from all the LGBTQ alphabet soup mafia nonsense, obviously with internal employees posting them getting fired, flat out saying that the only reason they got fired is because they don't want to have a bunch of gay, Disney doesn't want to have a bunch of gay stuff in their children's entertainment anymore. Well, boys and girls, as always, we love pointing out the hypocrisy of the Walt Disney Company because tolerance is only a one-way street, and it looks like not only is the Walt Disney Company targeting anybody out there that disagrees with their opinion and doesn't fall in line with all their nonsense, they're going specifically after Christians as well. And as a guy that literally hosts my Bible study on Sundays at 2 p.m. over here on this channel, I kind of have a little bit of an issue with that. And it doesn't come as any shock to me in any way, shape, or form that the Walt Disney Company has a problem with people actually telling them that all of their evil nonsense garbage is nothing more than that, evil nonsense garbage. So we're going to check out this article over here from piratesandprincesses.net, getting all the juicy details of what is going on with this lawsuit. And I'd imagine this is probably going to end up going very, very well for this person, considering the fact the current climate that we find ourselves in with so much of this kind of pushback against all of this kind of nonsense, against all of this kind of discrimination that has been going on inside of Hollywood and especially the Walt Disney Company for many, many years. So I'd imagine this is going to be going well, and I cannot wait to see how it goes. Whether or not they'll settle or not will only be a matter of time before we find out, but either way, it sounds like somebody's going to get paid. So we're going to check out this article from piratesandprincesses.net and get into all the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and we could not do that without every single one of you. We are inching our way closer and closer to 1,600, trying to get back to that 4K we had on our old channel over there. So please consider hitting that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you at all that the Walt Disney Company is being accused of discriminating against Christians about talking about their faith at work? And it's actually some other crazy ass things as well. Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from piratesandprincesses.net and Cambria Pratt. New lawsuit accuses Disney of religious discrimination. Disney is being sued for religious discrimination after Candace McGee, a Disneyland security lead, was fired over what her lawyers claimed was religious discrimination. Miss McGee had worked at the company for 23 years before being terminated due to comments on an internal social media platform. 23 years. Reminds us of a lot of the other purges that we've heard over the years, right? Of all these people that have been around forever. Yeah. The lawsuit indicates the comments pointed at McGee were threatening, discriminatory, and out of line, but those employees received no punishment. McGee is being represented by religious liberty attorneys Alan Rick, Beth Mora, doesn't really matter. The plaintiff is suing for loss of future wages, bonuses, benefits, all of that other kind of stuff, court fees, all of the basics. So according to the lawsuit, Ms. McGee had an issue with management and other employees over her Christian faith. Several instances were cited, including being reprimanded for telling guests Merry Christmas during Disneyland's Christmas celebration, where they profited from the holiday. I mean, like, seriously, they literally title it their Christmas celebration out there. But oh, no, 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 no. You have to say happy holidays, even though you're literally having a Christmas celebration. This just shows you how retarded things have gotten inside of the Walt Disney Company, boys and girls. McGee discussed religious beliefs with a peer, which, as a Christian, that's one of the things that we're supposed to talk to people about, right? And, like, you know, it's one of those things. It's not, we're not trying to force it down anybody's throat, but occasionally we're going to talk about those kind of things. It's just going to be the way things go. The other person filed a complaint, and she was reprimanded, even though McGee claimed some instances in the complaint did not happen. The other person in the conversation was not punished or questioned about the alleged discrepancies. Color us shocked there. It only goes one way inside the Walt Disney Corporation. She was forbidden from discussing religion at work, even though no policy was given showing that she was not allowed to do so, because that would be illegal. That would be called religious discrimination if they did have a policy on that kind of thing. Wow. 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 I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer by any means. Don't take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm just an idiot on the internet that can talk into a microphone really fast. So literally, don't take anything I have. Seriously, literally, that's insane. So you're going to punish somebody without violating policy. And it's honestly, as a guy that's worked as like a union steward before with like these major corporations, it probably got her under like this stupid little general clause that a lot of these companies have. Anything that's not specifically written down in our rules, if management decides it goes against our policy, if management decides it goes against just whatever we decide it goes against, well, we can punish you anyway. It's literally that kind of clause. They are retarded, they are stupid, and it's just the bane of any union member's existence out there. Interactions on the Disneyland internal social media platform Yammer, while filing the claims, had numerous discriminatory, harassing, and retaliatory posts made about religion, about McGee's religious beliefs, and in retaliation for McGee's posts sharing her strongly held religious beliefs. That's right, there's only one mentality allowed inside of the Bob Iger Disney company now, isn't it? McGee argues that she felt threatened and distressed because she was not allowed to express who she was and what she believed, nor was she allowed to defend herself. But of course, all of the men that feel pretty and want to wear dresses and put makeup on, well, of course, they all have their identity has to all be respected now, doesn't it? Ultimately, she was terminated in December of 2022. The suit's crux on the internal social media communications was the platform believes caused her termination. From the filing, it sounds like many of the issues started with Bob Iger's comments on the Florida Parental Rights and Education Bill, a.k.a. the Don't Say Gay bill. And yeah, color us shocked there, because after Bob Iger said, we're not going to delve into politics, we don't want to do that kind of thing, oh, of course, he jumps right in the middle of it. So the company's been telling stories for hundreds of years. Iger returned to the Walt Disney Company in November 22, and to his town hall, he said Disney's been telling stories for 100 years, meaningful positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons they have had a meaningful positive impact is because of one of the core values of our storytelling is inclusion and acceptance and tolerance, and we can't lose that. Don't sound so inclusive and tolerant to Christians now, do you, Bobby boy? After the meeting, the lawsuit stated that this caused a considerable bias against Christians within the company, as many conflated the bill with Christianity. This led to posts by senior cast members known as C. Stevens, a Disney legal department employee who posted a message that following excerpts was taken from on November 28, 2022. In general discourse, I've noted that what most people seem to mean by not be political means not centering stories on women, people of color, LGBTQ, non-binary, transgender, and other marginalized communities. And sometimes they don't even mean putting any of the people in those categories in prominent roles, but putting them in films and shows at all. I have long held that the view that many people want to brand as political discussion is really just human discussion. Imagine how hurtful it is to be told time and time again that your very existence is a political matter, stripping you completely of your humanity. Yes, your mental delusions are an issue when you're trying to have boys in girls' bathrooms and boys in girls' sports. It does become a bit of an issue. I'm all for live and let live. If you're a grown adult and you want to dress up in a dress and run around and tell everybody you're pretty, I don't care. It's not my problem. But don't expect me to accept your mental disorder and your absolute delusions. It's not going to happen. After this was posted, the lawsuit claims that C. Stevens received a positive response, with many fellow employees agreeing with the remarks. Of course they did, because Disney is nothing more than a brainwashed cult. However, among the neutral comments were alleged other comments to directly or indirectly attack religion, religious values, and place the discussion in the context of a culture war pitting religion, perceptions concerning religion, and specifically Christianity against other views. Oh yes, color us shocked there. Well, my apologies that God made Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve, because guess what? That is how things work. There are only two sexes. There are only two genders. It is binary, male and female, and that's what you get. There is no in between. There is no other crazy nonsense. Occasionally you get a hermaphrodite, but that's literally like less than 0.1% of all the births that ever have happened in the history of the world out there. So needless to say, outside of that one rare exception, you're either a boy or you're a girl. That's really all there is to it, you little psychopaths. The cast members espousing these thoughts allegedly encouraging canceling other opposing people and opposing views, often real or perceived religious views. Because of course they are. It's all about the cancel culture. According to the lawsuit, the company had diversity, equity, and inclusion, DIE, policies that prohibit the stereotyping behavior that the post conveyed. Even Bob Iger's statement about acceptance and tolerance was seemingly disregarded. Instead of stopping the comments, which may have violated the same policies Miss McGee was reprimanded for, they were allowed to continue to post. Because of course they were. The suit claims that even though Disney was notified, they never investigated the comments or issued warnings to those who violated the policy against discrimination, nor did they try to remedy or prevent the conduct, because of course not. Mostly it appears that other cast members were fighting amongst themselves over inferred transgressions. The talks became more heated until McGee finally responded. The filing states that at one point, other cast members known by RT posted, "We are here to entertain them with wholesome movies and cartoons that the whole family can watch without trying to indoctrinate them." Yes, thank you. To which the other person, R. Sprang, seemingly questions is the word wholesome. From C. Stevens, legal once again injected lengthy response challenging RT's conception of wholesome. The suit claims that Stevens' status as an employee of Disney's legal encouraged her others to participate in the discriminatory behavior. Basically, it argued that it allowed fellow employees to think that if if someone illegal could do it, it must be allowed. Well, of course, if the lawyers are saying it's okay, well, we must not be getting into kind of legal trouble. Oh, the arrogance of the cultists, boys and girls, the absolute arrogance. Guess what? Times they are a-changing. Another incident happened where one employee indicated sexual content should be considered absent in children's programming, which set off another employee who took offense and claimed the comment was offensive. What? Keeping adult content at a kid's shows is offensive? What kind of sick, twisted shit do you want to do to our kids there? I wonder why. Apparently the comments continued against Christians. Plaintiff felt distressed by the overt attacks on her religious beliefs, struggled to process the ongoing discussion. McGee finally commented on the thread and said sexual content in children's movies are not acceptable ever. Amen to that, sister. Other cast members took offense, inferring anti-LGBTQ theming, yada, yada, yada. We're all a victim. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. And obviously we already know about we mentioned the Pixar thing with Inside Out 2, having to basically not have any gay stuff in it or have all the gay stuff removed. All of that kind of stuff out there as well. So it just goes on and on and on. Her direct manager asked McGee to come in and talk. When she arrived, other manager and human resource investigator Sarah Lutz were present via Zoom. At this point, she was told that she would be questioned and was able to bring a representative. The questioning went on for 30 to 45 minutes, where they repeatedly questioned McGee about her religious beliefs and comments she made. Okay, first off, that's illegal as shit. You can't ask somebody about their religion, not like in a questioning trying to get them in trouble manner. Oh, no. That does not work out very well at all. Reportedly questioned about other people's comments. The notes were given to the plaintiffs for review or confirmation. Another interplace took an eye, so they continued to investigate the plaintiff even after termination. Allegedly, accusations made against McGee came from another employee who decided she was talking about the same-sex kiss in the Lightyear, which McGee claims she didn't even know about. The same accuser claimed that she would treat LGBTQ peers differently because of her bias, even though there was no evidence to back up that any of that or any examples of doing so in the 23 years she worked at the company. They continued to investigate the plaintiff even after termination, probably trying to cover their butts. Guess what? It ain't going to work. As an outsider looking in, I see that there was a double standard regarding acceptance and inclusion. If everything stated in the complaint is true, it's concerning that the Disney employees would go so far as to target someone for saying something similar to what others employees had said. But honestly, are any of us surprised at that? Right? We've seen how their actors and their actresses and their showrunners and their producers and everybody else have acted toward the fans and the way they've talked down to them. Why would it be any different inside of the company? If you think you can get away with that with your paying customers, of course you think you can get away with that, and worse to your fellow employees. It's literally nothing more than a toxic work environment inside of the Walt Disney Company. Comes across as sort of a witch hunt that aged very poorly given the recent accusations made against Disney over walking back LGBT content. The Merry Christmas, even though the company promoted it. So obviously we don't have all the comments in context. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. But I mean, honestly, does this surprise anybody? Right? That the Walt Disney Company, with all of their LGBTQ alphabet soup mafia nonsense, their diversity, inclusion, and equity garbage, like, would this surprise anybody that every single piece of this is true? No. And honestly, at this point, boys and girls, I'm just going to take it as gospel, because we have no reason whatsoever to have any faith in the Walt Disney Company in any way, shape, or form for doing this kind of nonsense. They have been anti-fan. They have been anti any kind of actual decency and morals for a long time. They have been trying to indoctrinate your children into a lot of really nasty things. So obviously, like the employees here that had a problem with not putting sex stuff in kids' movies, well, I wonder what they want to actually do to kids. Why do they want to expose kids to those kind of things? Well, anybody out there that's studied this kind of stuff for a while absolutely knows why. The Walt Disney Company was completely and totally, and may still be to a certain degree, infected by the spirit of the age. They are possessed by this cult, and it is absolutely nuts. They are possessed by the spirit of the age, and they have been absolute advocates for the cult. But guess what? At the end of the day, the Walt Disney Company does still worship at the almighty dollar more above anything else, which is why we saw all the firings. It's why we saw all the pissed off Pixar employees are like, they made us take all the gay out of things. Because guess what? This kind of nonsense does not go over very well at the box office and causes you to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And guess what, Walt Disney Company? Because you decide to allow religious discrimination against a Christian, you're going to lose even more money. After all, you danced with the devil, and now you're going to get burned, and it's exactly what you deserve. Bob Iger Corporation.